Clayton Kershaw returns, but Tony Gonsolin, he has a date with an MRI. LAFC, it's not that they're choking, but they do need to get a grip. And can the Kings replace their former captain, Dustin Brown? Hi, I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is Faithful Angelenos. I'm somewhere. And I know it's a ghetto, by the way, because of the helicopters buzzing overhead and the fact that I can't stop looking over my shoulder to make sure that a homeless guy with a shiv isn't approaching. Well, what the hell? September 2nd, 2022, let's talk LA sports. If you like the content we've been putting out, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notifications bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. It might be the last words I ever read. So before we take a look at the news and notes from around LA, we also check the scoreboard. Now look, it was bound to happen at some point. The Mets beat the Dodgers 5-3. The thing is, the Mets took the series. It is the first series loss for LA since late July. Their magic number, however, is still 14, and Clayton Kershaw was actually solid in his return. We'll get to that in a moment. Meanwhile, today, San Diego is in Los Angeles. They'll meet the Dodgers at 7. Dustin May is 1-1. Yu Darvish, 11-7. But losing a series doesn't concern me. What does concern me is there is a conga line of LA pitchers going to get themselves an MRI to take a look at their elbows, including starting pitcher Tony Gonsolin. Now, we spoke about this when they decided to give Gonsolin, they decided to shut him down about a week or so ago. What is forearm tightness, right? We had, for example, Kershaw had it last year. He was only gone for a few starts. Walker Buehler had the same issue, and next thing you know, he's having Tommy John surgery. So is it going to be like Clayton Kershaw, or is it going to be like Walker Buehler? We don't know. Originally, the Dodgers were optimistic. They said, yeah, let's just see what happens with rest. It hasn't worked. So now they're going to get him an MRI. And he's not the only one getting it. Relief pitcher Brusdar Graterol needs one as well. He's also definitely going on to the IL because he has right elbow inflammation. Do neither of them need surgery? Do both? We have no idea. Now, having said that, there is some sense of optimism. Kershaw only allowed 1 run in 5 innings in his return. So saith Freddie Freeman, quote, I don't think you should read anything into losing a series. I think you should read into we got Clayton Kershaw back. So we'll see what that means overall for the boys in blue. As for the boys in black and gold, not so shiny. The Philadelphia Union have caught LAFC in the Supporters' Shield race. Now, granted, LAFC does have a game in hand. It's the award that's given to the team that registers the most points during the regular season. Manager Steve Cherundolo complained about the refs after Wednesday's loss to Houston for LAFC. And there was, in fact, a questionable handball that led to a penalty for the Dynamo, which they converted. But let's be real. This is 3 consecutive losses for LAFC, and 2 of them were to the worst teams in the Western Conference. Their last win, that was against the worst team in the Eastern Conference. LAFC is averaging but 1 goal in each of the last 4 games. So you can complain about the refs as much as you like, but it doesn't change the fact that you're not scoring. And not scoring, by the way, against really poor competition. I could make my guesses, and I would actually think I'm right, but I am by no means a soccer expert. The upshot to me, LAFC is not scoring. 1 goal per match is not going to change what the refs do. Also for LAFC, Giorgio Chiellini was fined for entering the field of play during a skirmish in the loss against Austin last week. Matter of fact, both teams were fined last week, basically for being jerks. There's no nice way to spin it. I mention often being a fan of The Athletic. Their writers, they tend to get the experienced ones that get laid off from newspapers, so their coverage is pretty solid. But yesterday, the Kings beat writer posed a question and then didn't answer it. Who replaces Dustin Brown? Now, in terms of the captaincy, Brown lost that years ago. It's been Ajay Kopitar. But what I'm referring to is the style of play that Dustin Brown brings. They have possibilities from scoring from their wingers now. But what about good old-fashioned grit? You see, I attended a few Kings matches last year, and the fans in the stands were all chanting. Well, not all of them, but a good number of them were chanting, "Hit somebody." And they wouldn't, because that's not what the Kings are, at least at this moment. See, they won their Stanley Cups by beating the living daylights, hitting anything that moves. And Dustin Brown was a main cog in doing that. The trade acquisition for Kevin Fiala, he's going to slide into Brown's slot as a top right winger in the first line. And he's going to score, but he's not a hitter like Dustin Brown was. And oh, by the way, if Victor Arvidsson, who's a winger on the second line, if he isn't ready to play, he's going to be replaced by a Kings prospect who scored 14 goals last year, Arthur Kaliev. He'll slide up to the second line. Kaliev's not a hitter either. So my question to you, if you're a Kings fan, are you okay with a potential change in philosophy? Are you okay with a Kings team that can score a lot, but it's not going to hit you? What would that mean in the playoffs? I mentioned The Athletic moments ago. Their NFL writer went to executives across the NFL, and they asked them to rank all the teams in the AFC from 1 to 16. The Chargers, they're ranked 4th. By the way, in case you're curious, Buffalo is number 1. All AFC West teams are in the top 8. Now, having said that, the Chargers are not leading their division among NFL executives who think, who's the better team in the AFC West. Kansas City is number 2 in AFC West. Now, here's what the executives, who of course were quoted without being named, here's what they're saying about the Chargers. 1, quote, "I don't know if I trust Denver or the Chargers. Both teams have unproven head coaches." A second quote, somewhat similar. Quote, "They have to go through a murderer's row. The Chargers haven't gotten out of their own way yet." What do you think if you're a Chargers fan? I'll be honest with you, I think it's a fair critique. Staley cost them games last year. And we don't necessarily know if they're going to make adjustments and show the maturity in terms of decision making that they didn't show last season. Meanwhile, with the Rams, linebacker Daniel Hardy has been placed on injured reserve. We don't know it's for the full season or for half. Also, here's an interesting little note. The Rams are one of 5 NFL teams over the salary cap. Now, in the Rams' case, it's not much. It's less than $200,000. They'll be able to make that adjustment without much effort. But still, pretty interesting to be over the cap. Galaxy manager Greg Vanney says defender Julian Araujo will finish the season in Los Angeles. There have been rumors that FC Barcelona wanted to bring him to Spain. That's not going to happen, at least not for a few months. Lakers guard Kendrick Nunn once was bragging about how he would be ready for training camp. It was all systems go. Maybe not. He has been shooting, he has been working out, but he hasn't been going 100%, as they say. Now, this is a guy who missed all of last year with a knee injury, collected the entire check, didn't play a single game. He said he was ready, apparently not. And that would be problematic, because after all, the Lakers are going to need guard play, particularly because they don't know if they're even going to have Russell Westbrook. Finally, never been a big Stephen A. Smith guy. He strikes me as more persona than person. He strikes me more of bomb-throwing pundit than journalist as he used to be. But I will say this, the ESPN pundit does want to apologize to the Clippers' John Wall, as if he was way too judgmental on the guy in the past few years. You might recall a couple of days ago we were talking about how John Wall had contemplated suicide over all of the horrifying things that was going on in his life, whether it was COVID, the passing of his mom, Achilles injury, etc. Just a lot of bad things hit the man at once. And of course, because of that, pundits, without considering what it was meaning to Wall, they might have been too hard on him. Stephen A. Smith says, I don't know necessarily if he said anything too harsh, but just in case, he wants to man up, wants to go and apologize to Wall. Now, that doesn't mean First Take is worth watching, but all things being equal, good for Mr. Smith. I think it's the right thing to do. Now, if you enjoyed today's clip on LA Sports, don't forget to like and subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We are trying to build something here, and it would be a nice gesture to subscribe if I die tonight out here somewhere in the slums. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corta El Queso production. Take care.